Come on. Welcome to Get Your Bell Rung. I have such a treat for everyone to watch a an interview with someone that I absolutely adore, someone that I consider a friend. She is an absolute legend within professional wrestling. She was a trailblazer for today's female professional wrestlers. That is Sunny, the original Sunny, the California girl. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you, KJ. That was good because, yeah, I'm the original. And I feel, pretty bad for Sunny from WWE, but what can we say? Because I get asked that a lot. They're like, how do you feel? Because you were the first Sunny and you kind of paved the way and look where she ended up. I'm like, that wasn't my doing. You know what I mean?
Nope.
And she blew it. What can I say? And I just wish her well inside there. And let's hope she comes out at the other end a better person through all this. God knows. Yeah.
Look, absolutely. You know what? There is nothing better than a great comeback story. 100%.
Exactly. Yes.
So let's talk about your story, though. So you got into professional wrestling, from what I understand, because of your father, who you were super close to. Tell us about that. Tell me about your childhood, how you grew up, and you getting into wrestling as a fan, and then you getting into professional wrestling as an actual athlete.
Right. So, well, at 5, I entered into the world of acting. So I started in elementary school. I did the $6.50. Well, six. It's funny if you know the $6 Million Man. I did the $6.50 man. It was a robotic. I know, it was funny. In elementary school, we had robots chasing us. So that was my big entry into the world of acting. From there on, I graduated from modeling school at 13 with braces on my teeth. I was the most awkward girl because I was 5'10" already at a young age, right? Well endowed, felt
Wow.
weird, slouching over, hiding myself. I was raised very conservative. My family is very, like, everything is, blocked and chained and tied up. And, but I love them for it in a way because I rebelled. I was a little hellion on wheels. I got to say, not Sunny in the ring. I was definitely
Right.
far worse, but a survivor and a winner. But as far as the growing up, so I started track running after I went into modeling, did swimwear, got into track running, won a lot of, track meets. So that was my thing, was running track, being a pro athlete, volleyball here, skateboarding. I was a tomboy. I'm sure a lot of the pro
Right.
wrestlers, I was definitely a tomboy. I was taking lizard tails off lizards. And my brother would look at me, "Gross." I was like,
and before before you go further away from track, I think it's important to mention that you were so good and so athletic that in college, because they couldn't find any girls who to compete against you, they put you running against men, correct?
yes. And how about that? Considering what's happening in our day and time now, and the conflict. And I'm all about just putting that out there. I'm all about people can be who they want to be. Transgender could be transgender, gay could be gay. I don't care. But try to take the male testosterone
Right.
into the women's world kind of is not fair. We do it in wrestling, but hey, that's a tough, it doesn't look right. I believe
Right.
women should
Right.
compete in women, men and men. So,
Yeah. And I agree with you. And not to get too deep into politics, but I think the difference between you running against men versus what we're dealing with today is that they knew that you were a biological woman, right?
exactly.
And
Yeah.
and I think being a transgender in professional wrestling is a little bit different because of the fact that Although professional wrestling is very real when it comes to contact and getting hurt, at the same time as a predetermined sport. So therefore, everyone's kind of playing a character in professional wrestling. So it is a little different. We're talking about professional wrestling, but when it comes to sports, especially contact sports, I agree with you. Women need to be with women, men need to be with men. I'm 100% with you, unless the person that they're competing against is okay with it. They welcome
Right.
it, saying that's fine,
Yeah. And
type
it
of a
kind of
thing.
was. I mean, I succeed. I succeeded in, I guess, if you will, on the track running and stuff, but it was harder because I look over, I'm like, oh my God. And not only that, I got teased and taunted, called a daddy long legs, grasshopper, you know,
That's
you know,
terrible.
by the voice.
That's
But yeah,
terrible.
at the end, they were like my best friends. So it was kind of
Right
cool, and they're like, they accepted me.
now,
They're like, hey, she's a girl, but yeah, she kicks ass. Like she runs, she really runs. And I'm like, yeah,
now, did you break any records in track, especially whenever you're running against the females?
yeah, the 100, 200, 500,000 yard dash. I have many awards. Yeah. A lot of good awards. Pretty cool.
Now,
Yeah.
does
Did I
does,
eat
does any of your records
it?
still stand?
Hmm.
Does any of your records still stand with like college or high school?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've lost so through, let's say I'm 60 years old now. So through my
Are you
trailblazing,
really? You,
yeah,
I, I, I'm sorry. You look absolutely terrific
thank you.
at 60 years old. I have to say that. Absolutely,
Thank you. And no work
absolutely.
done yet. Not saying yet. I say yet because I don't want that crap because I'm a nurse. So I know that stuff through and through. It's not good for you in the long run. You're going to end up doing facelift after facelift after. But God bless them all. I have girlfriends who love it, but whatever. So
Right.
I just take a ton of supplements and in a way, when we're going to talk about it, but with the cancer or having the cancer, I think it's changed my get well effect, if you will, the wellness. So I take a lot of stuff, and that's what thankfully keeps me, plus good genes, right? It's, thank you, mom and dad up there. So, and I have a couple sets of them because that's another story. And so that's going to be in a book and movie. Yeah, wow. So we went from the track running, and in my family, it was mom, dad, and my brother, Frankie. Okay. So the toughness began in school because my brother was bullied. So I'm really big on anti-bullying, by the way.
Mhm.
I lost my brother to suicide. I tried to prevent
Mm,
that as I could, but yeah, he died at 26. But I got him through junior high school. He was 4 years older than I am. And he was in a car accident and his hip went out and he had larger feet. He was born with jaundice and a few other things. So he used to get teased and called retarded and everything like that. So as we're walking to school, I walked with him. He would get teased. And I got tired of hearing it. My brother wouldn't fight back. He just wouldn't. He didn't have
mhm.
a bad bone in his body. So he just took it.
Right.
And I could see him getting sad. So as he was getting sad, I'm like, oh no, this isn't going to happen. So all of a sudden, I just turned on everyone. I was bullying him. I'm like, how dare you? And they're like, well, let's fight you. You think you're so tough. So guess what? I was on the corner after school fighting these people, putting them down. And that's where the brawling came in at, especially because I had long hair. They pull my hair and I get really tough. I'm like, you touch my hair, because girls generally scratch and go like this. They don't know
Right.
how to fight. I naturally had the instinct. I don't know why I was born that way. It's what I say. So anyway, I beat this one girl to a pulp. It was not good, but forgive me, but she was horrible. She grabbed a chunk of my hair and I warned her. I said, don't touch my hair. It's on. And that's so that was real. That's Patricia. So it's funny when you see Sunny in the ring getting her butt kicked, rightfully well. I played it so well, they thought I was really hurt. But, that's that brawling side. And then full circle, I had a modeling interview. I was down at my mom and dad's house, and my father is watching Glow on TV. and he calls me out, and he's out of my room, and he's like, come sit down with me. I'm watching this show with all these women on all different sizes, shapes, and colors. I'm like, oh my God, I can't do that. And he goes, sure you can. Sit in your head shop. Give it a try. So that's how I got into Glow. But my parents would go to the Olympic Auditorium since I was a little girl and watched Freddie Blassie, Classy Blassie, Mr. Moto, Andre the Giant, all the late greats, even Rick Drayson, who was my ex,
Wow.
and I loved him dearly. Yeah, he was, we lost him, and he was the equalizer. He was the best. He's up there looking down on me. I know, he's the best. Anyway, so we were in the sidelines, and then my mother loved the roller derby. So we go next door to the roller derby and watch the roller derby. Now, what's interesting about the roller derby, which I didn't know through the Glow times, was that Matilda the Hun was in the roller derby, was in the Thunderbird at that time. And here I am little, because, you know, she's now passed and we miss her dearly. But the full circle thing is just, it's insane. It's crazy how it works, right? So I send in the headshot. I go to North Hollywood, and there's like 350 girls, maybe more than that. It was insane. I'm jumping in there, blonde hair, tan. I had long blonde hair then. Tan, I was a surfer girl, skateboarding, roller skating. I was every bit of that beach girl because I ran away a lot to the beach. It wasn't my choice, but I did because of my family dynamics, of me not fitting in or wanting to go to school. Like, you know, we were talking about earlier, I just love sports, and I wasn't sitting there, I wasn't having it. I'm like, I hate math. I can't do that. I don't want to do that. I want to do PE. So, you know, but the reason why I did run away, one of the main reasons, I had a drowning, which is in the comic book done by John Crowther. I have a comic book out, a little bit of my bio story. At 15, I drowned and I flatlined for 4 minutes. I was legally dead.
Wow. Jeez.
Yep. Yeah. So my mother had a heart attack on the way to the hospital, and that was crazy. So I speak about that today, and I'm so thankful to be here again today. And that's another long story. But it is in the bio book, and it's coming out in my autobiography and movie, made for TV movie, which I'm really excited about, by the way.
Wow. When is that? Do you know when that's coming out?
I can't really. Yep.
You
can't say
okay.
right now.
Okay.
Yep. Tight-lipped.
Okay.
Right?
Well, I tell you, as someone that has just gotten into this quote unquote wrestling journalism, as I'm getting into, I would like to be, if possible, the very first podcast you come back on once that movie hits television, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Of course. Yes. Yes. I was
Thank you.
A 3-part series, because there's just so much, and it's going to help everybody. I don't care who you are, you're going to find something in it. And that's just my life, unfortunately, or fortunately, because why I say that, because if people listen, they're like, oh my God, I feel so bad for you. I go, don't feel bad for me, because I'm here. I'm breathing. I wake up every morning with the grace of God. I have beautiful girls. I have my daughters. I have 2 grandsons, by the way, amazing grandsons. Wow, I can't ask for anything more. And all my friends and family and fans, you know, all the great fans in wrestling, of course, you know, and then the other things that I've done. It's wrestling. Everyone's like, you did so much besides the wrestling, Sonny. And I'm like, yes, I was blessed and thankfully so to be raised in Hollywood and be a part of that world.
Yeah.
But
and I can really appreciate, I do really appreciate your positivity, because a lot of people don't know this. I suffered a spinal cord injury in 2017, and like you know, I suffer from pain a lot. And people, I'm so sorry, and I get it, because I tell people all the time, you know what? I am so blessed that there are people who would trade spots with me, take on this injury just to have the life that I have, and it's that positivity that keeps you going. So I completely understand what you're talking about when it comes to that. But I have to ask you, you know, how do you deal with, because you do have a lot that you dealt with, that you're still dealing with, that we're going to go into, but how do you deal with those times that you do feel down? What gets you through those days, those bad days?
I think, well, because I take care of the sick and the needy, my position is I take care of ALS, severe disease patients. I hook them up to, uh, all sorts of things, from tubes to things like that. And I look at that and I'm like, oh, listen, every day that you get down, you just look at somebody that's worse, because there's always somebody that's worse. You know what I mean? There's somebody that isn't in a good place. They're not walking, they're not talking, they don't have movement, they're not breathing. You know what I mean? There's some that need the
Absolutely.
assistance of breathing. So when I put them on ventilators and things like that, I'm like, oh, well, I'm good. I am so
Right.
good. That's how.
Right.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? And just again, it goes back
Absolutely.
to the family. I look at my pets. I'm thankful. I had my cat Skittles. She's a tuxedo and I love her to death. She was there by my side with my cancer when I was in bed. I was bedridden for 6 months, maybe seven
Mm,
actually. Like I couldn't move. It was horrible. Anyway, she was right there with me. And the sense of pets is it's pretty amazing. It's because
yeah.
they have they're unconditionally 100%. I mean, even when my
Right.
family was busy, my daughter, they were right there with me. Don't get me wrong, but they also had lives, right? Yeah, I couldn't expect them to sit there with me every minute, nor did I
Right.
want them to. It's that
Right.
whole, like, I got this, I got this. But when you do say you don't have this, you need help, you want that. You know what I mean? And I learned that too, never to be too prideful, because when you are shot down like that, you got God and hopefully you have your family,
Right.
because that's what
Absolutely.
brings you up.
Absolutely. Now, I kind of want to take us back to your father, because again, as I said in the beginning, you were super close to your father, as I was with my father. Unfortunately, your dad was never able to watch you wrestle, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Um, I know what it took for me to get through the death of my father. How did you handle that? Being that, from what I understood, he was someone that was your biggest fan, someone that you couldn't wait to see. You couldn't wait for him to see you go to the next level of being in the ring. Talk me through that.
Yeah. My dad was the best. First of all, he wasn't my biological father. And that was a hard hit because I always thought, he would be, right? Because he just seemed like it more so than my mother. But he was very strong, macho, caring. Him and my mom worked together side by side. My dad left the police force for a shooting. He was,
Mm,
almost left dead. Um, and so that was pretty scary. And I was young then when I witnessed my father coming home. He didn't change the uniform, and it was all bloody and stuff. And I'll never forget that. And that's why I have a lot of respect for people in uniform, men and women. And people ask me, like, how could you support the police? Well, it's easy, because there's good cops out there. Not to say everybody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Hey, there is some bad ones in there. But, we need them. Who are we going to call? We're not calling Ghostbusters. We're calling the police when we need them, right? So anyway, my father was that man. I mean, he was just amazing. And he loved wrestling. And there he's watching Glow. I was like, unbelievable. He's watching women's wrestling, because he was, again, 60s, 70s, 80s, right?
right.
Men. He was all about the men. So for him to have Glow on, I was like shocked, really shocked. But my the toughness came when I was in the ring, and I think I don't know if I was wrestling Beastie or Big Bad Mama, but I get called out of the ring by Matt Simber, the director, and he said that my mother was on the phone. Now, I knew my father went in the hospital, but he was expected to come out. He was supposed to get a new heart. He had the bag behind his heart collapsed from
Mm,
overwork, which that was incredible in itself, right? You're like, what?
right.
Oh, but it happens. You can overwork your heart and it can bust, right? So anyway, they had a donor, but at the same time, I guess they detected a little tiny spot on his lung. Because you see, back in those days,
Mm,
my father smoked Camel cigarettes, non-filter. They
right.
smoked. My mother didn't, but he did. So that they went down and tested it, and it spread, and that's what took my father. But anyway, I get called out of the ring, and my mom says, "You better get down here." I'm like, "Why? Dad's fine. I just talked to Dad yesterday." "No, honey, you need to get down here." And that's from Vegas to Long Beach, California, is where my father was. So I'm a California native, true to my character, which I think I'm the only one in Glow that is the true blue of the character. Everyone else was from different places. They're not their real, right? So that was pretty cool. Hollywood is, Hollywood. And she was born in Burbank, but yeah.
Yep.
So,
which she will be on the show tomorrow. So
that's cool. Good.
Yeah.
Good. What was I going to, so yeah, anyway, I rushed down. Matt pulls me out of the ring. I get on a plane and I'm like just frantic. Take a taxi. It was the longest ride I've ever had. I couldn't imagine my father like being sick. So I get there, I walk in the room. He's all hooked up to morphine and the oxygen and everything. I'm like, what's going on? That cancer spread from that spot. They gave him 5 days. So me and my mother sat in the room. And I was with him for the final days. And I said, Daddy, I was looking over him. I said, Daddy, I'm doing good in wrestling. And I had a really good match. And he goes, I know you did, baby. And I go, I'm sorry you didn't get to wrestle, but you're going to. But that was,
right.
He was a good man, he, my protector. And boy, after that, I spiraled. I went back to Vegas, thought that Glow was still existing, right? I thought it was still on. It wasn't. So I got a little crazy. I met a Colombian drug dealer. He had the same Corvette that I had. That's why at Shark Tank, the Shark nightclub, we met. That was interesting in Vegas to return. And I thought I was badass. I'm a Glow girl. I'm getting treated like I'm famous still in Vegas. I'm still all the red carpets rolling out. Well, guess what? I came across the bad loop, and he was not a good person. So my teeth, I had braces on. They got knocked out. I took a hit from them. It was another bad episode, threatening, and bad things happened. And so then I got into the mob, the Vegas mob, and they kind of helped me and got him back and broke his legs from what he did to me. There's a lot there. That's all I can say. So,
you've lived a life. How long were you actually wrestling for Glow?
I did the 3rd and 4th season of Glow. So there was the first season, California Doll. She was the California Doll with the smiley face. And I came in, and Matt Simber said that I reminded him of his ex-wife. And I said, who's that? He said, Jane Mansfield. And my picture.
And let me stop you.
Yeah.
Let me stop you right there. For those who don't know who Jane Mansfield is, James Mansfield was brutally murdered by Charles Manson's followers, by his cult members. So were you aware of that when he told you?
No, because she was in a car accident. Yeah, Jane Mansfield. Are you thinking of the other one?
Oh wait, my bad. Yeah, I'm thinking about
You're thinking of Sharon Tate.
Sharon Tate, right. You're right. Absolutely. You're right. Jane Mansfield, isn't her daughter the one that plays on Law and Order SUV? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's who it is.
Mariska Hargitay.
Thank you for correcting me. Yeah. Yes, thank you for correcting that.
That's okay. So you can find a lot of stuff on Matt Simber and Jay Mansfield. They were married last.
Yes.
And they have a son, Tony Simber. He has a mole just like she does, perfectly. Mm-hmm. He was our referee in Glow as well in some episodes. And you'll notice that. He lives in Las Vegas still. But they were married and they divorced. And so anyway, Matt Simber says, Patricia, you remind me of Jane Mansfield. I go, wasn't she short and more curvy? And he said, no, let me show you pictures. And I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, I do. So my character now is forming as that blonde bombshell Jane Mansfield. And
Yep.
yes, we had a
Well,
relationship and all that, but it
I
wasn't
was gonna say
that.
what's crazy. What's crazy about that is in the beginning, I introduced you as a trailblazer, which you really and truly are. I sincerely meant that. Um, Jane Mansfield was also a trailblazer.
Yes.
She did a lot of first within some of the movies that she was in. And she wasn't she also one of the first to be in Playboy? Am I my history correct with that?
Marilyn Monroe and then Jane, I believe.
Man, Jay
They
Smash,
were
right,
best
right.
friends.
So one of the first.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. They hung out together all the time. They did barbiturates together. They had their thing. Those they were like inseparable. But
Right.
one just, again, they both. It was interesting is they both died tragically. Very sad.
Yes.
I mean, she was in the car with her kids, and her head wasn't
Yes.
decapitated as everyone thinks. It
Nope.
wasn't. I've seen
Nope.
the pictures
Nope.
of her in the casket and stuff. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah.
So believe it or not, and that's why I'm kicking myself for getting her Sharon Tate confused because Jane Mansfield was someone that I loved to love older movies. Because matter of fact, my last time my wife and I were in California, my wife's family's from California. We went to her gravesite. It's something I always wanted to do to get a picture of her gravesite because of how much I loved her back in her older movies.
Yes.
But I mean, what a comparison between you two because that was absolutely a huge compliment. It really was.
Absolutely. But it was hard to be the dingy blonde and lose all the time because I asked him, like, I don't want to do that. But he goes, and then,
Right.
and the writer said, what else? So they ask you what you're really good and what you wanted to do. So, and be. And what I wanted to be was a top model, but I wanted to be a lounge singer. So I was
Mm.
singing back then. And I was singing in lounges on Wilshire Boulevard. And so what they did is they incorporated knock knock jokes. So it gives a little bit of flair of Vegas. And so my ring work was I was always on, the mic singing knock knock jokes to piss off my opponent to come
Mhm.
after me. So I did like Bob Hope, Tanks for the Memories. It's great to be on the scene, to beat the big Marine. And when I was Purple Kelly and stuff like that. So it was brilliantly written. But I'm like, when they told me that, I'm like, I have to sing knock knock jokes. You're kidding. So, but yeah, and I played that dingy role so good. Sonny. Yeah, I've had those knocks in the head, but a lot of concussions. Yeah, because I had injury on
Yes.
tour. Yeah.
So you said you got involved with the wrong crowd. This was after Glow ended, correct?
Yeah.
How did what was your saving grace? How did you get out from the people that you were with, especially the Vegas mafia? I'm sure that that's not something easy to get away from. So how did you manage to do that?
Well, it wasn't, and that's where a lot of the stuff will be in the movie and stuff because.
Right.
So with that, I met one of these dangerous guys that was involved in the mafia who owned Sunbelt Sports, and I wanted to be remember model, and I modeled quite a lot up until that point. I did Jordache jeans with Brooke Shill. She had the Calvin Klein. I had Jordache.
Hmm.
And so Cindy Crawford, I was right with the mix of them in New York, which was very cool. I did swimwear. I did all that stuff, runway. I was doing pretty well. But what happened was Max Carson, that's what I knew him to be. He had NFL, all the sporting book, where you go and bet. He did all that for the
Hmm.
sport. Yeah. So he had ESPN commercials and stuff like that. So he invited me for an interview. He said, we're going to do the NFL calendar. And I said, cool, I'll come in and interview. Well, guess what? Remember I said I was hit by the Colombian drug dealer, and the interview was like the next day. I had a fat lip and a black eye.
Oh.
Two teeth, not my front teeth were knocked out. Right. And he took off. He took my dog, Sharky, my little Pomeranian, and wiped him, all my furniture out of the apartment. So I went in anyway, and I lied to Max. I said I was in a car accident. I hit my face on the dash. And he looked at me one time. He goes, tell me who did this to you. Like he knew. I'm like, how in the heck did he know
Right.
that? You know, right? Because I'm still like, you know, naive still, even through all that. Because let's face it, in our 20s, we still don't know, right? And I've been through a lot up until then. God knows I've seen a lot and been through a lot. And
Right.
younger teens, you know, I ran with the Hells Angels. A lot of people don't know. So when you see stuff with them, you kind of like nothing phases you, right?
Right.
So anyway, I'm sitting there across from this man. He goes, tell me who did this. So anyway, I told him, and he found Julian. His name was Julian, but Julio, and he was a Colombian drug dealer. They brought him. He was in Circus. They found him. I don't know how they found him, but they broke his arm and legs, and he came back and brought my dog, my furniture back. I was like, and they shipped him on a New York plane to where he's from, right? Which was not Queens. I think it was Queens, New York. But then I was in fear. I'm like, this guy's going to come back and kill me now. Like, and Max says, no, he won't. You're good here with us. Right? I had no idea, but I found out. I was like, oh, wow, you know, heavy duty mob. So anyway, but this person, Mr. Maxwell Carson, from our interview, became obsessed with me. I did NFL calendar. I did. So I was the Rams, Raiders, New England Patriots, Miami Dolphins poster girl. I did the tight ends, you know, the posters, all that. Did that with 4 other gorgeous models, 6 foot taller than I was. We all range in different sizes and shapes. There's pictures on my Facebook, and I still have that blonde hair, but my God, that was crazy. Anyway, he owned this business, but he didn't. So this guy was like running a racket, and come to find out, you ready? He was 10 America's Most Wanted. He ended up stalking, he raped me twice and left me for dead again, this man. So now how did I get out of this? Well, I finally met my husband, who was also Sicilian, and God, I love you up there, Anthony. And I have his beautiful daughter. And so anyway, he was kind of like my protector, but I was kidnapped on our first date by Maxwell Carson. So yeah. So full circle real fast without giving a lot of it out there because I'm protected for the book and movie. But John Walsh and Crime Stoppers got involved. They caught Max in 1998, but he was on the run after the last attack in Anaheim across from Disneyland. And he got 20 years to life and 6 years of coercion. He was in Lovelock Facility Correction Center in Las Vegas. And I went into hiding for 8 years. So that's what took me off the map. Because everyone's asking me, they're like, you were so successful. What happened? I said, I went into hiding for 8 years. I had to do exactly what the FBI and everybody told me to do, you know, so I could stay safe.
Wow.
Yeah. And I gave birth to Shana with my husband. We got married and he protected me, and now he's gone. But anyway, so that's how I got out of it. And, you know,
what,
you know, here we are 30 some years later.
Yeah. What a life. So, you know, you had a great father. The reason why you got into professional wrestling, you lost your father before he could really see your career take off professional wrestling. Glow ends, you get involved with some really bad people. You're able to survive that. And then once again, life knocks on your door with another blow. You get diagnosed with cancer. And it was pretty bad. Talk about that.
So in 2021, I had some like weird issues. I've always had like, how do I put this nicely, but not irritable bowel syndrome at all, but because ever since I was little and I was super skinny and tiny, I fell in the toilet. I don't know how many girls, you know, when you're little, you fall through that little toilet. I was trying to sit on it very long, so I always had constipation issues, and my mom would be there with the enema bottle, but I had issues from there on. So in 2021, I was starting to see some blood down there. You know, I'm like, what the heck? What's going on? This is weird. And my friends are like, oh no, it's probably hemorrhoids. You've had children, right? Yeah, it's hemorrhoids. So I ignored it until it got to the where I couldn't anymore. I did the box thing and sent it in. Did it, right? And it came back positive. Now we didn't know because positive still just doesn't say, right? It's just positive. They can't tell you anything. So I went in for a colonoscopy, And sure enough, there it was. So I had a flat-lying tumor between the colon and the rectum, and it was huge. It was a good size, and they said it was probably there for a long time because I had adenocarcinoma. So it's a slower moving cancer, thankfully. But at that point, they had diagnosed me, and it was March 3rd, and he gave me 5 years to live. Yeah. So from March 3rd, they moved really fast to April 1st. I was freaking out, PTSD, COVID, as if it wasn't bad enough in California. We were all in lockdown. So guess what?
Right.
I was like much on my own. And when they told me over the phone, because they can't see you, over the phone diagnosis, guess what? You have colon cancer. I'm like, oh, drop the phone. PTSD came out because I have full-blown PTSD. I deal with it and I manage it and I speak about it. By the way, I help whoever I can along the way, with these issues and how to deal with things. But that phone dropped. I was like, no way. I called my daughter, my older daughter. I said, Jennifer, oh my God. They said, I'm going to die. What, Mom? I have colon cancer. What? So they moved fast. April, which is no joke, April Fool's Day, right? April Fool's Day. They get me in for surgery. They cut half my colon, half rectum. They got the tumor out and they removed 14, I think it was, or 13 or 14 lymph nodes. So if the lymph nodes remain clear, you're okay. If they get invaded along with your little blood corpuscle, anything, that's a tough fight, by the way.
Right.
So they took all that out. And with the grace of God, I go back. I'm good. I have to take chemo, but I'm good. And I still get checked. So I go for colonoscopies every year. I just don't have the usual mechanism that everybody has. I was wearing diapers forever, and I'll never joke about Depends again. Like a lot of people, oh yeah, we're going to wear Depends. Yeah. Well, now it's funny. So what I do is, even with the diagnosis, I was making a joke of it because that's how I was dealing with it. Just to be not a joke, but being lighthearted. Right. I had no choice. After the surgery, I said, oh, I'm half an ass now. They're like, what do you mean, son? You're not half an ass. You're too nice. I'm half an ass. They're like, what do you mean? I said, well, I have half colon, half rectum. So that's how I deal with it. You know what I mean? Because, you have to, in circumstances like that, first of all, I got to thank Lola, the robot, because she saved me. It was a robotic 9-hour surgery. And I was terrified of her because I'm like, I'm not going to have a robot work on me. I want a human. I'm going to die with this.
Right.
Hey, I was so blessed and thankful. And she was this big white miracle, right? With robotic arms, this big thing came out of nowhere. I had the best doctors that see me through that. And then in 2022, I was diagnosed with colon cancer. And Roxy was there with me, by the way. A shout out to Roxy, my girl.
Love Roxy.
Yeah, she went to the hospital with me when I had to go in for the surgery. And they removed 4 cancerous cells, moderate cells. So it was right between mild and that's it type thing. So I dodged a bullet. And what they say, you dodge and you weave. And I do that. So I put my boxing gloves on and I thank God that I'm here and I help tons of people with my advocacy work. I'm in all the cancer groups. Colon cancer, I can help so many. The hardest thing is children are getting this now. They're at young age because they're drinking sodas and it's the chemicals. And that's why I stand for MAHA, because get that crap out of our foods, right? Because I never drank that stuff. So I was a healthy eater, which was shocking, but I was raised on red meat, but it may have been that because how you get these things, and as you know, and most of the general pop know this, it's stress. If you have taken hits in your life, your body kind of like pushes back, even though you're dealing with it inside internally, those little cells, because we're born with cancer, by the way. We're born with COVID, we're born with cancer. It just flares up. And guess what? Surprise. So, you have to learn how to get rid of stress, take it out. Doesn't matter. Go, goodbye. So I'm always up, happy. And in my most stressful times, I shake it off. I'm like, I'm here. I'm good. Just breathe. Just breathe. That's it.
Yeah. Well, what makes you so remarkable is you get diagnosed with this, and what you do for your career is take care of sick people. So
Yeah.
while you're sick yourself, you're taking care of these sick people. And I tell you, I imagine to most people that would be something very difficult to do, especially in the beginning of your diagnosis. What, and I know I've asked you this a couple of times, but I mean, what kept you going where you didn't get to the point that it scared you to be around sick people because of what you were dealing with within your own life? Or was it taking care of these people is what kept you going?
That's what kept me going, actually. And essentially through my really intense fight, I was away from everybody and everything. So I wasn't taking care of anybody then. I had to take care
Okay.
of myself, through that time. But going full circle after all that is when I got into the caregiving. And then I decided to get my license and keep going, and licenses and licenses and licenses. So I pushed myself because you're never too old, right? So I
Right.
got a license, ALS license. Well, I have LPN now. So I'm officially taking people to the end. ALS, they call me in, the families. And so I'm an empath. So it makes it hard, but yet I just can do it, I guess. There's some people. So I took care of my mother. That explains. So my mother passed away in 2014, and I was there with her. And that was a shocker. That was the hardest thing, I think, to see and deal with, right? I wasn't planning on her going either, and the way she passed. And I was shooing people out of her room. She was in a convalescent home, and she was supposed to get out, but she didn't get out. They dropped her. They gave her cookies. She was a diabetic, right? Severe diabetic. I was always yelling at them, telling them, stop doing this. So I was like overseeing my mother much more than the nurses were. So that's where it all kind of spun, into it.
Right.
And here I am, now. And my daughter is too. She's a nurse for Banner as well.
Awesome.
Hospital. I'm with Honor Hospital here. Honor's great. But Mercy, a shout out to the Mercy hospitals in Bakersfield, California, of all places. Everyone's like downing Bakersfield. I'm like, don't you dare down Bakersfield. They saved me. They were the best doctors ever, So, and I'm
Yep.
here in Arizona. August will be 2 years for me, and I love it here. I do miss
Awesome.
Cali. All my friends are there, a lot of them and stuff, but I made new ones here. You just keep the circle of life and keep going, and it brings you to where you need to be, as they say, right? And we're good.
Right.
My family's here, and so I'm happy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So I want to talk about wrestling for a second, for a little bit. I tend to I get people sending me messages saying, Kevin, you have these great people on that was wrestling, but you don't talk about wrestling too much. And I enjoy talking about, as much as I love professional wrestling, I enjoy getting to know the person
Right.
outside of wrestling, right? But for those who like to hear about wrestling, let's talk a bit about wrestling, your career. Do you remember who your very first match was against?
Wow. That's interesting. I think one of them, because that's when Queenie was still here, my tag team, before she was injured and Sunny was solo, was Queenie, the beauty queen from Tennessee. She was injured in a pile driver. She froze up and her collarbone popped up, popped out. Yeah, hit the mat, because you can't do that in the move, guys. You can't freeze up. Number one, no. So anyway, I think it was Hollywood and Vine. Yeah, I want to say Hollywood and Vine. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
good
And
match.
I was gonna say, how did that match go for you, being that it was your very first match? Did you like the match? Was it like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've done terrible?
No, because you can't think that way. Matt wouldn't allow us to think. If you thought
Right.
that way, you were out. Like, he's firing people left and right. Oh yeah, no, he had no.
Right.
It goes back to that Glow Netflix, because everyone asked me, they're like, "Is it really like that?" And I go, "It was. We didn't have a cocaine robot, a robot that brought us
Right.
cocaine or any of that craziness that they put in the Glow Netflix, but." the love of the women there and the wrestling towards the end of Netflix, the third season, they finally got it right. And it was good.
Right.
But Matt was harsh like that, but not like Mark Marone at all, by the way. I mean, Matt was the best director. He pushed us to our ability. Like, I hated doing handstands. He made me get up against the wall to do 100 handstands till I got my legs straight up. Because myself in Hollywood, we have the longest legs in, you know, anybody who watches knows that. Me and Hollywood both have the gangly legs. And so I couldn't get, I'm like, this is horrible. Like, finally I got it, and I was turning 5 shades of red and dizzy, and it was awful. You know, he pushed us, the military training. We had military training to do this. And a lot of people don't know that. We did military push-ups, 100 a day. We had to run with our arms above our head, touching our ears through tire tubes. We went through this combat course. And then on our wrestling ring, we did hyperextensions. The girls sat on the back of our legs, and we had to do hypers. I mean, it was brutal. And it whittled down from 70 girls to 36 of us, right? So, and then after that, the characters. I mean, it was all molded. Some girls, I guess, got to pick their own character. I mean, I didn't, you know. And I had that tankini where I couldn't gain a little bit of weight. It was like that little thread. I'm like, really, Matt? And then I had a sun on my right cheek in rhinestones. Can you imagine landing on that hard mat with rhinestones on your butt all the time? So I'm like, Jesus. You do it, right? You do it, and you go, and you can't freeze up. You got it. So we would train during the week for filming. At the end, Saturday and Sunday was the television. So we had the audience come in Vegas in our warehouse, right? We trained all week. We knew, unfortunately, sorry, everybody, we knew who was going to win or lose. And that was just the way it is. But we called our matches. We did our moves. We did our matches. And they were long. They weren't easy. Today, these guys, they couldn't do it. It was brutal. It was brutal. Yeah. We got that. Matt would watch it at the end and say, okay, yeah, I like it. That's good. Or maybe throw in this. Do a pile driver there, Sonny, instead of whatever. And then it would come. And then television time, guess what? We had no room for mistakes. No room for calling. If you're on the television right there, you can't make mistakes. If you do, you got to keep going. You got to act like it wasn't, right? So that was just it just became natural. Like, yeah.
So is it true? Well, actually, I want you to verify, because I've heard that, well, the question I asked you is both true and that no, it's not true. So verify. According to rumors, Matt would weigh certain women, and if they gained weight, he would threaten to let certain the women go. Is that indeed true, or is that just bullshit rumors?
Yeah, I think it's rumors. I mean, well, he did let some go. I mean, there was one that, you know, it's my dog. I'm sorry, you hear one of my dogs bark. But I think there was some that were let go because they couldn't wrestle. They just weren't good. And they were in there, you know, they tried, but Matt, you're gone. Too many injury. If you got injured more than twice, gone. There were some girls that did have to extra, like Roxy, I think, was talking about her thing. She had to wear a sweat thing and try to lose weight. He was on her. Lose weight. Do this. Do that. You have to, you know, you have to work at it. I mean, let's face it, nothing's easy. And that wrestling is definitely not. I hate that when people say wrestling's fake. I say people are fake, not wrestling. Get in the ring and try it. Just try it. If you think it's so fake, right? Because the injuries are real. The contact is real. Of course, you're not supposed to really hurt, but you know, sometimes you're in that moment. You do. One of the girls was Fire Habana. I wrestled Habana from Cubana. She really thought she was that character. She was into it. She spit in my face and blew that cigar, and I couldn't see because the smoke was filtering right in my face. I was lost from it. So I went in the back room. We got in a little heat, and Matt fired her. I said, Matt, she spit not just mine. She had the cigar on one of the other girls because it was a tag team match. I forgot who I was with, probably Cheyenne Cher. Anyway, it was like, what are you doing? You don't do that. You know what I mean? You don't spit, no body fluids.
Right.
But she kept spitting, really got into her character. So she was fired. She was like, oh, yeah. And so, yeah, there were some girls that
Right.
were honored. Speaking of, I'm wearing the cauliflower. Before we go, I want to mention the Cauliflower Alley Club.
Oh, we're going to talk about that. But,
Yeah.
absolutely. And yeah, we're definitely going to get to that because I'm a huge supporter and I'm a member. Which, by the way, was exactly how you and I, first met. You see my T-shirt. So I want to ask you about you. You brought up the television series that's on Netflix,
Yeah.
Glow. Which character on that or the series do you think was closely related to Sunny, the California girl?
Um,
The
I would
actual
say Betty Gilpin. That's hands
okay,
down because Betty had the child. I had the
right.
child, and I was close with Matt Simber. So what happened is they took 3 to 4 of our characters into one of the Netflix. They molded 3 or 4 into one, so we couldn't go after them because we had no rights to
Mhm.
the Netflix.
Right,
Only,
right.
yeah, only Babe the Farmer's Daughter, who did
Yeah.
that and had that script. So yeah,
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, how did it make you feel that here's this massive show being brought to Netflix that absolutely has something to do with you and the rest of the Glow Girls' lives, but yet they didn't really contact you from understand, and the big reason was because they didn't want to have to pay you guys royalties. Is that correct?
exactly. They didn't want to pay us, to come in and be actresses, and we were blessed to meet the girls at the WW. We got a tour backstage in Los Angeles, and the Glow Netflix girls came in. It was a nice surprise. So they got to meet us there, some of us. And so that was nice. But yeah, no, that was dirty pool. But, I can't really say anything bad because you know what? Ursula was, she was a good friend of mine, and she's passed on to breast cancer. She's no
Mhm.
longer here. And hey, whatever. The good thing about Glow Netflix is that it made us relevant more so again, right? The resurgence, because now they
Right.
know that, hey, this is based on the original Glow Girls. That show helped us. And yeah, I have no complaints. I thought it was brilliantly done. I mean, it was really good.
Mhm.
I will say that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So,
well, I tell you what, my wife, not a Russell fan whatsoever, but because of the fact that she loved you and Darla, although Darla was a part of Glow, but nonetheless, because of how you guys welcomed her and made her feel in St. Louis, she just told me the other night that she wants to actually try and watch the Netflix series. Who she did not have any interest whenever I watched it. So,
yeah.
so you guys do make impact on people's lives because of who you are as a person, right?
Yeah.
And I commend you for that. So you have some pretty big things coming up in your life. One of them is the Cauliflower Alley Club, which is a nonprofit organization that I belong to very proudly. I can't tell you how much I love this organization and because of what it does for wrestlers who are in need.
Yeah.
Talk about that. Tell people what's happening.
I think it's probably one of the best organizations, and it is a 501(c). Brian Blair is the president.
Yep.
Hats off to Brian Blair. He's done an amazing job. I've been there since 2010, so I've seen quite a few come and go. Carl Lahr, rest in peace, because he was my favorite soul. I mean, I would talk to him every day. He was like my father. And he knew my dad because of the Olympic Auditorium, because that was his area, right? So back then, but I think this organization, it does so much for us wrestlers in need. If one gets sick, or like myself with cancer, they helped me through it, with no question. That's the thing. So with this organization, when you buy your banquet ticket and your membership, whether it's a yearly or you buy your lifetime, I'm a lifer, and you are giving back to someone that has put their life, blood, sweat, and tears in the ring, and that needs it later. But most importantly, full circle, you are in a family. You are in the most amazing family. I mean, it is. I can't wait to see everyone each year. That's why I go. I didn't go during COVID, and I'm thankful for that. I couldn't because, again, I was diagnosed and stuff. So that was definitely meant to be. But that was not such a good time. But we've got it back. Everything's good. I'm sorry for people who have passed during that time. It breaks my heart because we lost some good people, some good friends from our circle of friendship. And it is about friendship, by the way. And that's the other thing
Absolutely.
too. Yeah. And not to be bullying, not to take people, not to rip people off. And there is some behind the scene things that happen like that. And there is some kind of not such good blood, right? Because we have people that join that look forward to going every year and they want to be happy and have a good time. That's the most important, is to have that camaraderie, the friendship, the loyalty, the happiness. And we discovered some things last year. It wasn't so pretty. And I'm disappointed because it's one of our girls, right? So, we'll see this year what happens. And I hope that the people continue going and not go because there's fear of seeing that person, or I want them to go because they deserve to have a good time. And that's important. And, and we put that out there because we are a circle of friendship,
And let me, go ahead. I'm sorry.
There's so much to do at the CAC, and this will be your first time there, right? You're going to enjoy it.
It is.
The banquet. You're going to love
and
shows.
And that's what I was going to do. That's what I say, Sunny. Because you talked about friendship, right?
Yeah.
I met her, via telephone, and we spoke. And the Cauliflower Alley Club, which I joined about 5 months ago, I'm going to be a lifetime member as of next year. I'm going to do the lifetime thing, but the Cauliflower Alley Club is what actually really kind of helped my podcast be exposed to the fact that, I still have a small podcast, but the people that I was introduced to that I made quick, oh my gosh, like by the time we left St. Louis that weekend, I felt like I made over 100 new best friends. That's just how great everybody was. And even my wife was like, oh my gosh, this was so much different than what I thought it was going to be. She's even excited to go to Vegas. And on top of all the type of this great friendship, you're still helping those who you loved growing up watching, who put their bodies through God knows what in order to entertain us, right? I can probably say that I'm helping these men and women. That's what's so awesome about the CLC. Now you're being recognized, right?
Yeah, well, I'm this year. So I've been recognized at the Cauliflower Alley Club in 2017. I got myself and 25 other girls recognized for the Women's Wrestling Award. I took 6 months off work and got who I got there. Again, it goes back to mentalities, entitlement. Well, you're not entitled above anybody else. We all have our time. You show up and you be thankful, right? You're thankful because you got an award, which is pretty darn cool from the Cauliflower Alley Club, family. In 2022, yes, I got the Courage Award, which I was so wonderfully humbled and thankful for that. Absolutely. Because the one previous has passed away. And the one in 2023, he passed, Black Bart, of colon cancer.
Yeah.
And he was honored. So it's a pretty, it was interesting because it was hard to know, right? Going up there and I'm getting
Right.
awarded. Yeah. Situations like
Yeah.
that arise and you just never know. And that's the thing too, is that you just never know. So you appreciate, you enjoy each minute because none of us ever know when it's our
Right.
time to go.
Right.
It's a proven fact. So you've got to do that. But I got 26 girls honored, 2017. So thankful. It was a great time. We had wonderful time. I mean, it was good. That was the most all of us girls were together, 26 of us. So yeah. And
Awesome.
I
Awesome.
have no idea. But I will be in a seminar this year called The Revolution of Evolution. So check out the seminar.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what is your, besides, reuniting and getting to see people that maybe you only see once a year, event wise, is there a favorite event that you're looking forward to this year?
Yes, I'm going to the Iowa, the Luthez Tragos Iowa Hall of Fame in
Hmm.
July 16th. I'll be there through the 20th. I have two
Right.
other events. I've got a lot of events. In November, besides the CAC, the Cauliflower Alley Club, in August, everybody get your ticket
Yes.
and go up, right? Yeah, right there. And that's in August. That's a fun time. I'm going to be there for 5 whole days, but the event is 3 days from Monday to Wednesday. So,
Hmm.
and then November, I will be at 2 Comic Cons. So I've got one in Roanoke. I always get that wrong. Roanoke, Virginia, and Lebanon, Tennessee. Yes.
Hmm.
So stay tuned for that. I'll be putting those events up too. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. And
My
I'm
career.
glad you mentioned that because I
So
was going to ask you to mention those. Uh, when I asked you about your favorite event, I met this year at the reunion. There's no days with different things that's going to be happening. Is there any particular day that you're looking forward to?
I think for me, it is every day there. Like the minute I land is the minute that I'm happy because I get to see everybody. Like I get to see
Right.
Darla. Love Darla. If you're watching Darla, I love you. Brian Blair, of course. Rich Engling, Barbara.
Mhm.
I mean, all of them. Bob Cook. Bob
Right.
Cook.
Yep.
Where's my Mr. Cooker? Mm-hmm. Yep. I love them all. So it's so much fun when
Yep.
we're there. It's like a continual. You'll see. This is gonna be. You're gonna
Hmm.
be moving so
Yep.
fast every day. I'm hardly in the room because we're out doing things. We're drinking. We're eating. We're
Right.
having fun, socializing. And then the banquets hit, and you're like, "Wow, that's the
Mhm.
most amazing." Is to see that and to witness everybody that comes in, and it's just a family, and you're gonna want to keep coming back. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh,
So.
absolutely.
I look forward to seeing
Absolutely.
you
We are
and your
looking.
wife. I'm excited to have you guys there. That's
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. We are excited to be going as well. And before we end, I have to say, look, guys, if you want to be a part of something you be proud of, something that is helping those who actually put their bodies on the line and risk injuries in order to entertain us, become a member of the Cauliflower Alley Club. Look,
yes.
it is literally, if you'll break it down to cents, it's literally 10 cents a day is all it costs you per year. It equals out to be $35 per year, or you could be a lifetime member. I'm going to be joining next year as a lifetime member. And it is so incredible, guys. So incredible. I encourage you to go check it out and to join. You can find this at the caulifloweralleyclub.org. Again, caulifloweralleyclub.org. And also they sell t-shirts, hats. I mean,
At and
again, right,
yeah,
it's so awesome. Such an
so
awesome organization.
go to the site and click and sign up, and we'll see you there because
Uh,
this is the 59th
yes.
59th CAC
Yes.
Cauliflower Alley Convention, and they're all doing a fantastic job. So shouts out. I hope we have a wonderful year. And it's going to be, it will. It always
Right.
is. You're going to. It's a lot of fun. I never want to leave. I'm like, oh my
Yes.
god, we're here. We got to leave. It's over. So
Yeah,
yeah,
we were excited.
yes.
Sunny, I can keep on chatting with you for another hour. Thank you for coming on. I truly appreciate it. Thank you. You were the very first one in St. Louis to talk to me. Walking down the hall, you see my shirt, you're like, I love that, So
Yes.
thank you so much. I think that you are the one who pushed us into getting in, being welcomed by everyone else, and then becoming, being accepted. So I will always appreciate you. Thank you so,
Yes.
so very much. Is
Absolutely.
there anything else? Is there anything else that you want to plug before we go?
Just, just stay tuned. I put a lot on my social medias, Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm barely on TikTok, and I really don't do Twitter, X, whatever. I just don't, but I'm on, you'll see, and I do speak to you. That is me. AI likes to pop in there, just so you know. If I'm not on, AI will talk for me, but it's a little weird. I'm like, what are you saying to these people? And so I have to pop in there, and I'm like, what did you say? But oh well. Yes, thank you. What a
Yeah,
great interview. Awesome.
yeah, thank you. One other question for you? If you can't answer, I get it. Is the movie coming out? Is it going to be on network TV or is it going to be on a streaming service?
I think it's going to be TV for sure. Yes,
TV.
TV series,
Perfect.
a three-part series at that. Yeah.
Yep. 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 Are you able to say which actors or actors that are playing you or anyone else, or that's still on the hush hush?
It's still,
Still in the
yep,
hush hush.
yep,
Perfect.
still.
Got it. I respect it. I respect that. I'm not going to push it. So again, thank you. You're always welcome to come back on. I'm sure we'll be
Yes,
talking as well. And I can't wait to see you in August. It'll be
in
great
August.
times.
All right,
Yes.
cool.
As everybody, in about 30 minutes, we're going to be doing the recap of AEW Dynamite. So be watching us to come back on. Please subscribe to my channel. Tomorrow, I have Hollywood, who is also a Glow Girl coming on. That's something that you don't want to miss either. Another trailblazer of someone who is also an incredible woman. So you guys have a great rest of your week, great weekend, and don't forget to subscribe and be watching for us to come back live in about 30 minutes. Sunny, again, thank you so much. You have a great weekend.
Awesome. Thank you. It was awesome. It was good
Okay,
seeing you, talking to you, and tell your wife hello. Give her a big hug.
will do.
Okay.
Will do. Will do. All right,
Thank
bye bye.
you.